All right, hello everyone. Testing, and I'm not even sure if that even works. Let's see. Probably it did. Oh yeah, because there's also a stream delay, but hold on, let me send this to NTT first. Yeah, hello everyone. So this will be the live stream of the playoffs or semifinals that is happening, which is a restream, and I really apologize it's late because literally, just for context, I literally just came back from China, and then the moment I came back, I did not even have time to come back because I had to head straight to Father's Day gathering, Father's Day like family dinner, and then I came straight to this. So yeah, haha. So yep, Sin. So yeah, let's first start with the
stream? Discord?
I wanted to say introduction.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wait, you haven't. I forgot to.
Yeah, you're.
Okay, let's see. Is everyone in the stream? There we go. I figured it out. Nice. So yeah, seeing that we have a later start, let's move on. So we have Write Your Story in HLT advancing, and also Sky and WG advancing off camera, which I had to skip because I was at China IVL yesterday. So we have Write Your Story versus HLT and Sky versus WG. And one thing interesting with these two teams is that these two teams their hunters both survived a game where they must, or not survive, but they both managed to land a 4K in games where they must get a 4K, and that itself is very interesting and very impressive, Sin.
Yeah, it is extremely impressive that both of them clutched up exactly when it needed. It's honestly quite a feat to do that on top of pressure. Obviously, it's a realm of infinite possibilities, and IDV, any small mistake can change the outcome of a match extreme. There can be extreme consequences for it, because IDV is, in higher plays, IDV is more of a micro game rather than a macro decision.
Please go ahead here.
Intro. For team Write Your Story, we have Ganaf, Izuna Haha, FS Happy, Hong Yuyet, MP Moru. Can you read the Chinese?
在后商绝活.
Okay, thank you. And then Xuan Thu, I think.
For HLT, we've got J, Glucose, Frost One, Misori, and Lady Ja over here. So yeah, that is going to be our lineup. And let's skip ahead. So we are in Red Church, and we're seeing Steel Game Band and Magician Novelist being selected first. And honestly, I can confidently tell you already, this meta Magician is very crucial. I can say this confidently after watching one IVL match live and also watching the ones today. Magician is actually very crucial in this meta because he can guarantee his kite for a long time here. Oh, what's that sound?
I accidentally clicked something.
Haha. Okay, alright. So yeah, Puppeteer gets banned over here. And of course, since it's a restream, we have our favorite time, Sin, don't we?
Oh gosh. Yep, there it is. It's time for...
I feel the ad was pleased to watch. Strongly disagree, thank you. Okay, so we have Psychologist and Knight. So the Psychologist seems like they're going to be opting for a more tanky survivor style of gameplay over here. So, I mean, if Puppeteer gets banned, actually I'm thinking the majority of the meta hunters does not like the Puppeteer. So it's probably the big four. Probably the big four hunters because because like actually we really see some of meta picks loves the puppeteer, like namely Hermit chases the puppeteer, and also like Wu Chang chases the puppeteer because Sin, like here's in context, earlier today in IVL a Wu Chang was pulled out in BO1 and they landed a format elimination
Wait.
with it.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's great. Honestly, I love seeing other hunters, especially someone that's not in the like major meta for the like current season, because the major meta for the current season always ends up determining 90% of the hunter picks, and it's nice seeing out of meta.
Yep. So let's see though. Yeah, I'm definitely liking these off meta picks here because like we've seen a lot of like the main four, namely Hula Baloo, Goatman, Goatman, Hula Baloo, Opera Singer, and the Shadow. Oh, okay. First of all, I can tell confidently the stream is
Okay,
working.
so go.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Goldman, Hula Baloo, Shadow, and Opera Singer. So, talking about that, Goldman has been selected, and actually, Goldman, like this might be surprising, but Goldman may not be the best pick over here because actually in this meta, Goldman is no longer the go-to at BO1. I mean, Goldman is still stronger than the rest of the top four, but the thing is that he is not invincible. He can still be defeated with the right
Yeah.
team comp, and this team comp right here, I can see working. Psychologist is a tank and is guaranteed to have at least 3 cages to bring her down. Novelist is actually very good against Goatman because he can swap with the Goatman inside the cage, and when that happens, he can paladin stun and evade a cage easily. And Magician's wands are also very good into like lasting those extra seconds to kite against the Goatman.
Yeah, and just honestly, this team comp is pretty much a counter against him, and this is why a lot of team comps, even if unless they know for sure that the hunter has someone else on their roster, they'll usually pick someone who's like a team that's steady against the goat man, just to counter situations like this.
Yep, so we're seeing here, Psychologist will likely be the first case over here though, because like Psychologist doesn't have anything to evade those cages. But one thing is that I really see this team comp can work decently against a Goatman. Like I see the potential of it completely. So it's just a matter of fact
Yeah,
if they're gonna play
absolutely.
it off. So yeah, let's skip ahead because since we're late, we don't want to like end up stuck here at 1 a.m.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Alright, so moving on. Frost 1 will be marching towards the psychologist here. He's looping around the church. Frost 1 considering, but decides to not to drop the cage for now until maybe line of sight. But if gonna hold the cage here, let's see, is he gonna drop it?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem likely, but
It seems like, yeah, he will soon be, now that he's caught onto the trails with the psychologist. There we're seeing it, and she's most likely gonna take a hit here, but she does have, that is the first cage down, so that's still a lot of time considering she's still at full health.
yeah, but the thing though here is that she's not that far from taking the second hit. And oh, but this one, it seems that the Golem missed the cage and allowed the psychologist to kite even further here. And we actually also see that the excitement has been selected by Frost One, which his plan was probably to use it to chase the novelist, but him chasing psychologist here makes like the excitement play entirely like voided because he's not even chasing
Yeah.
the novelist to begin with. So Psycho taking a second hit here, dashing, and here it will be a while before the third cage will be placed, so it's likely the psychologist can last a reasonable amount of time for a lot of cyber progress to be gone, Sin.
Yeah, a lot of cypher progress is being drained just by the fact that she's so tanky, and already if this was a normal survivor, they'd have been downed a while ago, but because again, this is what Psychologist excels at, simply drawing out the time with the rock hiding as much as possible, making sure that the time in between each of her hits isn't too short.
Well, this is a free cipher kite, or near free cipher kite, so it's very impressive on the survivors end, and they're already in position for at least a tie, and maybe a free escape if they want to, like, go for a fight over here. So, let's see though. Frostone just hovering around, making sure no sneak rescues. And Knight, he's gonna become a play here, but Knight has a time to go for it, or it's gonna go for the instant save here. And with this cage, with the shield though, it's able to last for a bit longer time. And the Knight already broke the shield, forcing Frostone to drop another shield here. But doesn't seem that this cage was well placed this cage is well placed enough, and Knight here will be trying to body block, which is a very valid play here. And another tactical foresight is going to be coming into play just to like draw out even more time. And it's like this cage is gone as well. So honestly, clearly Frost One is heavily struggling to even get any survivors down, Sin.
Yeah, like we've seen Frost One's performance before, but because again this is the semifinals, we're just seeing the survivors and the hunters play both at their peak here. This is great supporting from both of them. Although the excitement here because of the second prediction working out, managed to use excitement there, and with no more excitement is not able to cancel out that pallet stun.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like these survivors are very confident and like well prepared what to do against the Goldman, seeing that they end up selecting all tanky survivors, which is working here, and having multiple people to assist is even better because now like the psychologist is even not dead in chair, and we already have multiple survivors here. And honestly, Frost One cage not being that accurate here is definitely costing him, alongside of how well selected the survivor team comp is, and seeing that psychologists have broken time. This is a format endgame.
Yeah, absolutely. This is looking
Oh,
towards to be a win, and as
oh,
long as she can kite. Oh no! Unfortunately, gets caught into the cage with the pallet. This might set her back a little bit, but even then, this kiting area is actually not bad. Although she will take a terror shock there, but still, this is at least a win for Team HLT survivors.
yeah, this will
Isn't
definitely be a
it?
win considering that the Goldman no longer has any more traits. So
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to the survivor team for taking the win at round one. Oh, I think it's right your story, survivor, and oh my goodness, Sin, what a game! Like honestly, for this game, I feel like the Goatman's cages were sort of inaccurate because we actually seen that there are like 2 or 3 couple of instances where he placed the cage and the survivors are not even in the cage to begin with. So that's definitely considered a bit of a blunder on the survivors' end, and or rather on the
Mm-hmm.
hunters' end, adding on the fact that the survivors were well prepared. So honestly, like despite Goldman being the number one, Goldman selection here may not be the best. I felt like opera singer, like Hula Baloo or opera singer had larger potential, and especially the opera singer had a larger potential with this team comp.
Oh, absolutely. The opera singer, like against opera singer, this team comp wouldn't really perform the best because they wouldn't have the utility to counter her. They wouldn't have the utility to counter her Shadow Dash, and just the fact that they're tanky doesn't really do much because the distance they gain from attack recovery, it doesn't actually help them all that much with how fast Opera Singer is.
Yeah, so yeah, like I definitely feel opera singer could have been better. And Writer Story was definitely very well prepared against the Goldman, which earned them their 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, can HLT Survivor return the favor? Because this is a Survivor side the meta, and we are definitely seeing glimpse of it now, or in this game. So let's. Oh, there was a pause, but thankfully, with the power of technology, we can move ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Officer and Novelist first. So it seemed to me that HLT is also opting to go for Novelist and counter potential Goldman, but there's actually an empty ban here. Wait, let's see what exactly happened here. Yeah, there was an empty ban.
Uh,
Maybe there was some lag issue. Um,
Perhaps.
yeah, or maybe like there was an incident like last time where the hunters were forced to swap mid game due to lag issues, and as a result, they lost their ban spot as a result. Maybe there's that incident, but we're seeing Puppeteer also getting removed. It does seem that Peddler Pro here wants to play not the Peddler, but the Goatman.
Mm-hmm. Although we did see how Goatman ended up last time against, but at least against like team comp like this, he stands a little bit more chance. Because it's not as though this team comp is that tanky. Although he still have to face the problem of the novelist and the magician.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Magician and Novelist, we already established they're very decent against the Goatman.
Mm-hmm.
First Officer, I won't say decent, but I won't say bad either because with the Goldman nerf with his like statistics drop and all, first officer can
Mm-hmm.
no longer is bad against the Goldman. It's more like 50-50 situation. And Archer followed, but the Archer is also kind of decent though, because Archer can shoot the crossbow onto the Goldman, and then the laceration will hit if the Goldman tries to backstab. And so this is why we can see here that the Shadow will be opting for a different approach, going for the Shadow. I mean, Peddler Pro here going for the different approach with the Shadow, because here the Magician and the first officer would give him a hard time, but the Novelist and Archer is not the best against the Shadow.
Yeah, the novelist and the archer might be a problem, but again, the novelist depends on looking at the hunter to regain his pages. So after he uses up his first metaphor, it might be a bit of the problem for the survivors. So item conservation will be really key, especially for this novelist here. If the shadow can bait it out, they'll be in a bit of trouble.
Yep. So here we can see that four corners. Interesting. I would assume that they selected the four corners spawn as like a way to evade running into each other. But the issue is that you will eventually get chased out of that corner, and when you start moving towards the side of the map, that's when Yidra can also go and leech on other survivors. So the four corners strat may not work the way they want to. But here, what's not good for the Shadow is that she ends up spawning next to the Magician and the First Officer, which both counters the Shadow because they both have the ability to use their items to kick Yidra off them. So with that, it seems that here Peddler Pro will have to just go in and like leech on to the survivors and then head over to the right and chase either the Novelist or the Archer. But we're gonna skip ahead here and move straight into the game. As Peddler Pro here spawning will be like chasing the Magician off and leech the First Officer, but the real target will probably be either the Archer or the Novelist.
Right now it's looking like she's forcing the Magician to crowd up with the Archer, actually. But that is the Magician. The Magician is looping around Shack right now and isn't exactly running into the Archer right now, although I do worry how this will... No, the Archer is right there and she'll switch... No, she actually won't switch targets. This is probably because of the laceration there, but even still, she'll get a stun rather soon and might happen right next to the pallet.
Yeah, but the one thing I did notice is that it seems that the Magician's illusion usage was not the most effective, seeing that there are a couple of instances he failed to use the illusion to block the pallet area, which we did see just now, and this is going to bring him in a very bad situation, but goes for the blink here and able to get the hits without flywheel effect or illusion being used. So this is looking very good for the Shadow though like the next time when the Magician got leeched, he can still like kick the Yidra off him with the illusion. So let's see. So I think it'll be better for him to try to go for the scare straight away, which he did get the scare, but unfortunately 97 not enough, but is able to get the revelation off this time and get the down. So considering that the Magician in theory counters the Shadow, this kind is not sufficient enough.
Yeah, considering how pretty much Magician should have some sort of advantage over the Shadow here, not being able to kite for at least the full three ciphers might be a bit of a problem, but here at least we're seeing that the third cipher is actually rather high in progress.
Yeah, Novelist with the helm metaphor gonna swap here, but is able to still gonna take the hit, but is able to pull off the rescue, so this is decent enough, like completing their goal. So Glucose will be taking the kite here, but Glucose now has no more ability, and with full presence Ivy, in theory, the Magician should not be able to last, because all it takes is for one leech, and then one teleport, and the Magician would be going down, but here Ivy seems to be in no hurry, but I feel like he probably should have just teleported to not waste any more time. So with the Magician down, the Kearney is still over 1.5 ciphers remaining, meaning that the survivors can also, like, the Ivy is in position to try and win if he can, because with the ability of spawning on the ciphers and to slow them down, the ciphers would not be sufficient for this game.
Yeah, no, the ciphers won't be enough for the ciphers won't be enough for this because of how much map control this Ivy tends to have. By the time they get the rest of the ciphers finished, at least two or three of them might be in a risky situation or be downed.
Yeah, so it seems like here trying to get a magician is able to get a 100 corruption area, but it's sort of in a bad spot though. So magician is be forced to vault up, but it's gonna take the hit. So magician will be sent back to the manor, and I think right now the question
Mm-hmm.
is if the shadow can like go and control any of the ciphers, which we see that he is trying to harass the cipher at the graveyard, and the graveyard is the one indeed with the lower progress. So this Ivy still has a chance over here though, because now that cipher is going to get locked, and actually both the survivors are in that area though, so it's possible that she can try and bring one of them down.
Yeah, that's definitely possible with enough survivors near her. She could actually bring them down here, but I think her main priority would be pressuring that last cipher because as we can see it's already at such a high progress unless she stops it now. By the time it gets to the 85% mark, it's basically unstoppable.
Yeah, but we do see Blink being expanded over there, and the Blink
Mm-hmm.
is sort of a need over there because just to like make sure someone on the chair and slow them down. Because clearing the cipher at the graveyard, while it's the one in very high progress, but the thing is that Ivy having the ability to leech onto them and threaten the survivors away, they won't be able to decode it confidently. Like we see the first officer still decoding it, but Ivy can teleport onto them anytime, and with that, the first officer
Yes.
would be going down. It's 92%. It might seem like only 8% remaining, but now that this first officer will be chair at the graveyard, we can see that we can see like this cipher at 0% because like that cipher will like not likely to be decoded at all.
Yeah, there it is, because this is what she excels at. At least it has enough progress here to the point where the survivors won't be able to safely decode the before the shadow can properly react to it, unlike if it were like way too high in percentage. So they're forced to start another cipher, and that sets them back by so much time. With all of them injured, if anyone goes down here, it would take even more time to heal someone up to prepare them for a rescue.
Yeah, but currently like the the leech on Godjay is in cooldown though, so so here Godjay in theory can still last for a bit and is able to use the arrows and the fly effectively just to delay more time. We can see that the cipher at the outside is in like very decent amount of progress, so I think it would be better for the Peddler Pro here to try and bring down the novice, seeing that he knows that novice has no borrowed time. Because if he's playing right now, both the first officer and the archer having borrowed time means that at endgame everyone will be back up. So I feel like it would have been better if he tried to abuse the fact that Novelist had no borrowed time to begin with.
Yep. If he if he plays this right, he could still target the novelist for the end game since he will be at half health. They'll prioritize actually waiting out the detention, but if he can make sure that the novelist doesn't get healed up, that will still be the equivalent to an easy down year. Unfortunately, instead of hitting the novelist, what happens is the wall goes down and that allows them to pop the ciphers.
Yeah, if he didn't go on the bob, that would have been a disaster. But honestly, we can see that the cipher at the outside is actually in very high progress, or the gate over there is very in high progress. Because I think the moment that the novice goes down, he has to instantly go back and like guard that gate if he wants to make sure that he gets it. Also, goes for a blink. He is able to get the first officer down, but can the first officer crawl out?
Yeah, unfortunately, Crow. Yeah.
Yeah, like as I was trying to say, what he should have done is to instantly go back and harass the gate and like leech over there. With then he can threaten the survivors away from it. Then it would buy him enough time to chair the novelist, because him like spending too much to chair gave the survivors the opening they need to take a tie. And honestly, like while like I mean it's still decent enough. Like while they failed a free escape, a tie is still decent enough as they're not trailing too much by points. So it's still
Mm-hmm.
possible for them to reverse it later on.
Absolutely. It's only a 2 point difference here, so at least two wins and no losses after that would be enough to actually put them back in put them back into a tie here, but at most they more realistically they would need 3 wins within the next 2 rounds in order to actually pull this off.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, a 5-3 score is not the worst because it like all you need is like 1 round higher than that, and then you can reverse it. So yes, it is a lead by Team Write Your Story, but it's not unchaseable. So we're now going to be moving on into the yeah. So we're now going to be moving on to the second round, which is going to be Write Your Story survivors. This time, as they're in the lead, and global bans no Goldman. Hula Baloo gets banned here because Hula Baloo has a high potential jumping, like having a lot of strong jump spots. But this does open the gate for Opera Singer though, so Write Your Story definitely need to prevent against it. And they also have to prevent against either a smiley face or a breaking wheel, because they are also very viable in this meta.
Yeah, especially against the breaking wheel here, because we have seen Frost 1 have a breaking wheel, although they're going for a psychologist, which might not be the best pick considering the three possible hunters that might show up. It's between Smiley Face Opera and the breaking wheel, and Opera and breaking wheel counter psychologist here.
Yep. I mean, Opera, I guess it's fine this meta, but hold on, we're going to be seeing Court and First Officer, like you mentioned, Breaking Wheel is also viable here. They have to select some characters that can kite decently against a Breaking Wheel, or else they're going to have trouble, as we're going to be seeing Embalmer and Antiquarian being removed. But this does more or less scream the Shadow, maybe, because I don't think Breaking Wheel or Opera Singer wants to get rid of the Embalmer. So we do have Acrobat that is very strong at the last stop, and it can kite the Breaking Wheel for a bit if he pulls that out, and the Opera Singer too. So this is overall a well-rounded team comp. Like, it's not a team comp that's very strong as support, but more that of them just trying to kite this one out.
Absolutely, because Team Write Your Story, since they have the minor they have the minor advantage here. All they need to do is make sure they don't lose. Even if they continuously tie, they have that 2-point advantage that they can use as a sort of crutch to keep their advantage.
Oh yeah, definitely. So here, like, it's HLT that's the one that's in a hurry to try and reverse it, seeing that they're behind. So let's see, what would their Hunter Frost one do, seeing that they have to somehow to break the tie somehow. So let's see, anyone in the chat? No one. Well, first of all, I feel like Breaking Wheel, like, if he wants it, it's good. So, oh my goodness, yep, call me the real seer of this game, seeing that I predicted this Breaking Wheel coming out. Like, the Acrobat is strong at force stop against it, but I feel like the Court and Psychologist and even the First Officer is a bit fragile against it. Like, the difference against the Breaking Wheel between the Merc and the First Officer is that in full presence, when the Breaking Wheel switches to human form to use Ridicule, the Mercenary can instantly use the elbow pad away out of range, meaning that he cannot land a spike on them. But for First Officer, you will get spiked even if he uses the Poseidon Watch. So First Officer is also not the best against a Breaking Wheel too. Now we're talking about it.
Yeah, it might not have been the best choice against a Breaking Wheel, but still, First Officer is gonna be a strong rescuer nonetheless, as long as the pocket watches are used right and timed correctly. We're seeing the Breaking Wheel spawn closer to Psychologist and to Coordinator, but because of how Breaking Wheel counters Psychologist here, it would be best for him to chase the Psychologist, and it'll turn out especially bad because Psychologist only has Flywheel, no borrowed time, and no broken windows.
Yeah, especially the fact that it's completely possible. I'm gonna say this: it's completely possible for the Breaking Wheel to spike the Psychologist off like the roller coaster. Is entirely possible. So with that, the Psychologist does have Flywheel effect, which does work against the Breaking Wheel. So it seems that they more or less did predict that there's a breaking wheel possibility, which is good news for them. So now let's see how they're going to be playing this one out. So we're gonna skip ahead as usual. Oh, so we see Frost One switches into human form and it's gonna be chasing after the psychologist, who is just going to be like in the first stop, but the first stop is not exactly the best way to evade like the breaking wheel as but curing the psychologist did do a pretty good job in evading. So let's see. First trap gonna slow down and it's going to be taking the first hit here. So let's see, will the psychologist still kite around a bit or would she try to utilize the roller coaster?
Part of it thinks that because of how close the breaking wheel is right now, and they don't know whether or not the breaking wheel has blink or excitement to counter the coordinator here. So what they might end up doing is just forcing out the kite here, especially since the breaking wheel already hit her with the empathy. So at least she got one extra hit out of that.
Yep, definitely. So let's see. Let's see, like there's already 2 spikes onto there, but Core will be coming into play here. A bit of a coordination just to have the psychologist transition further. So Frost 1 will be forced to swap back into breaking wheel form, which did get buffed because previously the cooldown's not that fast. And now that the psychologist is trapped in this area, but she does have a flywheel effect to work with. So let's see, flywheel not able to be used in time, and down goes the psychologist. Though we are talking about 2.5 ciphers in the game, or near 2.5 ciphers in the game, so still like both sides have a possibility here, seeing that they have 2 tide turners. But let's see who will be the one coming in to rescue.
From what I'm thinking, since Coordinator no longer has any item, it would be way too much of a liability to have her rescue here. Instead, what we might end up seeing is, again, there we go, we're seeing the Acrobat rescue because of the balls. The red ball might be, if he manages to land the red ball sometime, it will be a massive help to the Psychologist, although running through here doesn't seem to me like the best choice because, again, she can just go down easily to the snaps with it being a closed and more confined space. It's hard to kite in here.
Maybe he's just trying to clear up the Acrobat cipher because that was the cipher that was decoded by the coordinator earlier and they wanted that cipher, so that's why they're transitioning away. So now let's see, you're going to be going out to harass the first officer, who will be using his Poseidon watch just to stall for more time. But this is a full presence breaking wheel, mind you, so the breaking wheel or the officer has to be very careful on how he kites or he could fail the rescue. That's why they also sent in the acrobat just to ensure this gets rescued off, but unfortunately they're not being able to gain anything out of it, seeing the psychologist instantly goes down, the acrobat's still in the vicinity, so this is looking very bad for the survivors right now.
Yeah, absolutely. With the Acrobat on such a low health now, and the last cipher having less than 50%, the Acrobat will. No, actually, it seems like the first officer will go down here other than the Acrobat because the Pocket Watch doesn't do much against the traps. Once the Pocket Watch duration runs out, they'll have nowhere proper to go, and the Breaking Wheel has spotted that. No, the Breaking Wheel. Yeah, the Breaking Wheel has spotted the Acrobat here and has decided to switch targets.
So, but the core will be get chased here. Yeah, pretty nice use of flywheel, but currently we can see that everyone is like in very bad condition of health right now due to them like spending so much people to rescue and not gaining anything out of it. So it's more or less the Hunter's game right now because everyone is like one spike from being from going down, and like it's very unlikely for them to decode all the ciphers, despite the ciphers being far away from each other.
Like, the problem with the long distance between the ciphers is it's working more against their favor rather than against the breaking wheel's favor, because the distance doesn't matter to the breaking wheel, but getting between each cipher and healing each other up will be the biggest problem with it for the survivors here. If one cipher gets pressured off, the other can't come in and heal or essentially just help out because of how big Moonlit is.
Yep. Let's see. Actually, 2 people have spike on them. Pessimistic, able to get the acrobat down. Cord is also in the vicinity, so So Cord is also going to be in danger here, and even the first officer in the long range, as you said, Sin, distance is not going to matter over here, just because the fact distance would not matter here just because of that reason, and like Breaking Wheel having a very high mobility. So with that, this officer is also likely going to get down soon, and I don't think anyone can successfully pull off the rescue.
No, I don't think so either. So now it's just a game of expending self heals, whether or not they will surrender or whether or not they'll try to draw it out as long as possible here. Because I think with the focus being on, yeah, there we go, being able to heal up the acrobat without forcing him to expend his self heal here is going to be really good for them, since the acrobat is at half health rather than at 0.75 and has no spikes on him yet.
Yep. Yeah, but honestly, even though like all it takes is for the first officer to, or rather the breaking wheel, to stay guard on the chair and the acrobat cannot come in. But if he's gonna swap into human form though, that is the opening that the first officer, the acrobat needs to pull off the coordinator. But let's see, swaps pessimistic, and oh, coordinator seems to flywheel affected away it though. Just to delay a bit more time, or maybe she only had one spike, I don't know. But Court also ends up going down, and now with both survivors down, she can just chair the Court in like a chair further away from the acrobat and charge straight towards the first officer in the long range. But it seems that here his plan is to go for a double chair to be more safe instead.
Yeah, because the double chair for Team HLT, all they really, yeah, for Team HLT right now, all they really need is at least a 3K and carry up that momentum here. They don't want to risk accidentally messing something up and getting a tie instead, especially because the gates are already open.
Yeah, like even though now the ciphers are being done here, what the first officer can do is limited. So actually goes into it, and yeah.
Oh, no.
Because honestly, I feel like the arrangement of the survivors was a bit off. Seeing that the Court, after the flare gun being used, the psychologist ran straight and disrupted the acrobat cipher or the coordinator cipher, which ended up causing that the battle to be going around them, and like the survivors all being injured trying to pull them off. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Against breaking wheel, like obviously health management is really emphasized when it comes to hunters that are strong with map control, but it's also extremely important when it comes to breaking wheel, because being not being healthy enough to actually support your teammates or pull off like mandatory moves like rescuing or supporting will bite you in the long run.
Yeah, so with that, this is the opening that they need, seeing the HLT gotten a 4-man. Maybe for Write Your Story, they were not expecting a breaking wheel, or like their character choice was not strong enough for a breaking wheel. So all of a sudden, there is an opportunity for HLT to try and reverse this, around.
Yeah, now we're actually gonna see. They're actually going to see Team HLT. This is very strong for Team HLT, because now they've actually won back the. They've not only closed the gap between them, but they've also currently have the advantage. So as long as they maintain this pace, they are in the winning position now.
Yep. So now we're going to be seeing So now we're going to be seeing Mech and Archer with Goldman being removed. So I do see the potential that Breaking Wheel might come in play though, just because like Breaking Wheel also can chase the mechanics, so they do have to keep that in mind, seeing that Breaking Wheel is also strong in this map.
Yeah, we did just see a breaking wheel now, but perhaps they might not be sure whether or not Right Your Story has a breaking wheel here. But then again, Archer, a Gravekeeper, and an Acrobat actually does counter them fairly well. Even if the mechanic goes down, as long as she kites for long enough, that shouldn't be too much of a problem for them.
So let's see though. Yeah, Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper and Archer are actually both decent against the Breaking Wheel, so they more or less did prevent it. But I am concerned if what happens if the Opera Singer gets played here, because Opera Singer is actually very decent against this team comp.
Mm-hmm. Ah, you're right. Opera Singer actually would be able to do a decent amount against this team comp. The safety that the shovel provides isn't that much unless we're talking about rescue utility itself. For kiting, it doesn't actually do that much in his favor because it's easy to catch up to the distance that's made after taking a hit with the shovel.
Yeah, so Opera Singer, here goes. But no, honestly, Gravekeeper mechanic are very fragile against the Opera Singer. Gravekeeper too. So it's really the Archer, if the Archer can like run in the open and then like have like a clear fire on the Opera Singer.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Acrobat who can try to utilize the force stop. But there is a very high possibility that the Opera Singer would aim for the mechanic at the 2-story instead. So you have to like be aware of that.
Definitely. Ah, yeah, there unfortunately spawns directly on the mechanic. Decides to spawn on Godkite. This was a relatively risky because there was a chance that they put their mechanic on the first stop. But then again, if they were to put their mechanic on the first stop, it would still be easy for the Opera Singer to go to her really quickly. Although that would give her more options for her own route.
Yep. Well, the mechanic will have to try to hide her bot because the point of them selecting the mechanic is to like utilize the bot and all and increase the decoding speed. But if they ended up going down, like the bot being spotted, then this would negate the whole purpose of them selecting the mechanic in the first place. So they have to be very, very careful in this game. And how the mechanic kites the bot and kites how long would be the key of this game.
Absolutely here. Although, because of how close the Opera Singer is to the mechanic, I'm doubting whether or not the mechanic will even be able to actually put down her bot and hide it. Because if she hides it in a locker, there's only so many lockers around this area that aren't directly in the path of the hunter.
Oh yeah, that definitely. So let's see though. This would be HLT Survivor versus Regular Stories Hunter with your caster Invisible, Jong, and Sin.
Alright, we're getting into the match. We're seeing that obviously the Opera Singer would go for the mechanic first, but the bot is able to be hidden somewhere. It's not exactly inside of a locker, but it is somewhere that's easy enough to avoid. Although the issue would be if she were to loop back towards the... if she continues on this route of looping back within Godkite, there is a small chance of the Opera Singer actually seeing the bot on her route, so we're seeing them transition away.
Yeah, so let's see, GotJ. Oh, is it gonna take the first hit? But fortunately, it does seem that GotJ already like hit the mechanic, the bot relatively early, so that is a fortunate thing though. Killing Predator Pro is hard after the mechanic over here though. So let's see, mechanic, very dangerous spot here, but is able to drop the pallet and last for long, seeing his both broken windows and borrowed and a flywheel effect here. But Blink is gonna be played. It actually evades it, unfortunately, with the slow VOD still will be taking the terror shock, but he already lasts a significant amount of time. Like, first of all, the fact that he already like hit the bot and the bot did not get busted, and him lasting over 70 seconds is already considered a massive win for the mechanic.
Absolutely, especially since the bot is so nearby. It would prop tinnitus if only the Gravekeeper is already here relatively early though, so that's not too much of a problem here. I was thinking it would force the hunter to stay around here and prevent her from going out to pressure ciphers, but yeah, we're seeing the Gravekeeper be on the rescue relatively early already, but it is right on time now for the before half rescue. For the second share, the mechanic will be there. Unfortunately takes that, and this seems like it might end up in a double down.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Gravekeeper is always very fragile against the opera singer, and if a Gravekeeper comes in to rescue, there is a possibility that he will end up like getting doubled down, which is exactly what happened over here. So now with both survivors being down, I think they'll probably have they probably like the acrobat has to come and rescue use Tide Turner to drag for even more time, just to make sure the Gravekeeper can self heal back up. But Curie, the ciphers are actually gonna soon be enough. They're only missing the bot cipher and the archer, the acrobat cipher, which are both being decoded right now. So let's see how can this archer like just protect the mechanic for a bit.
Yeah, especially since Archer is the only one here with potential to actually stall out time. While it is possible to do something with like the debuffs that come with the acrobat balls, it's not as reliable as an actual harasser, like let's say our Archer here.
Yep, so now we're gonna be heading into endgame here. Archer goes down, but Archer goes down the moment the game pops, and oh, mechanic does seem likely to get chased over here though. But I mean, it's decent enough considering that the trait is like turning into cooldown, and I think they're gonna have to sacrifice the mechanic by having them stay nearby in case the opera singer teleports, because curing the teleport cooldown is about to be in play here. So yep, mechanic bot is gonna charge in. So here they definitely the plan is to have the mechanic to just delay and drag and I confine the hunter to this area to ensure that the Gravekeeper and the Acrobat can make the escape. Because in this game, they only need a one escape, and HLT will be back ahead in terms of points. So honestly here, as long as one of them gets out, it does not matter what happens in the game.
Yeah, as long as one of them gets out here, there it is. Team HLT is actually getting at least two survivors out, and unfortunately, Gaji might not be able to make it out, but still, that's a tie here, and that is what they need, which is simply to maintain the pace that they got with their previous 4-man.
Yup, so with that, HLT is now back in the lead, with an amazing performance from their hunter though. Like, their hunter definitely performed exceptionally well, and that definitely, like, dragged them and gave them like all the time they need. So with that, let's move on to the next game, as currently HLT is back in the lead after the breaking wheel 4-man. So here all HLT needs is to get a tie in this round, and they're going to be winning.
Yeah, there it is. With the tie here now, they will be putting the pace for the win, and we're seeing again a Goatman and a Hullabaloo band. Since our Ivy and our opera singer are gone, that removes our big 4 hunters now.
So yeah, gonna get rid of the more meta hunters. Now the 4 main meta hunters have been removed. So let's see what other tricks does Peddler Pro have. I recall that they have used surprise Peddler before, so maybe we can possibly see that here. But Chinatown being a map with very like a lot of thick buildings and thick walls and all, I feel like this one is less likely in this case.
Yeah, since it's the same weakness with Eversleeping, where she can't actually properly use her walls as much as she'd like to because of how thick all of the walls are. It's considered simple, invalid spot for the utility here. So we're seeing a Gravekeeper, Fire Investigator, and Acrobat.
Yep. Fire Investigator, Acrobat, let's see, Embalmer gets banned. Gravekeeper, I mean, first of all, I don't recall if Peddler Pro here plays a Hermit, but if he does, then the Gravekeeper selection does make sense. This is a team comp that is a little fragile, seeing that there's a Postman and all, but if played right, it can definitely be a force to be reckoned with. And this team comp is also well prepared against a breaking wheel. So this team comp is actually very decent, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely. This team comp has the potential to work out fine, aside from their one weak link which is Postman, but that's easy enough to deal with how Fire Investigator and his synergy with this map Chinatown in general is rather amazing.
Yup. So with that, let's see what is going to be said. Oh, breaking regular story we're going a breaking wheel on their own. And honestly, for breaking wheel, I see the potential problem right here. Here's that Gravekeeper can dive underground to evade it, and Postman, when the breaking wheel swaps into human form, the Postman can easily use the dog to just like delay even more time.
Mm-hmm.
And the fire investigator can even use the airbag to block the breaking wheel in wheel form to enter certain buildings. So I see that there's a potential massive problem for the breaking wheel in this game.
Yeah, the breaking wheel might face some problems chasing anyone here, but the acrobat. But even then, as a solo kiter, acrobat is relatively strong against a majority of hunters.
Yep, definitely. So with that, we are going to be heading into the game soon. But here the fire investigator is likely going to take the first kite. And seeing he is in like a relatively open area, he definitely will have to run his way towards the 2-story and try to use the airbag to block the breaking wheel outside.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, let's speed ahead. And oh, there's actually like 2 flywheel effects. They are more or less prepared.
Mm.
Alright, it's gonna head into this is what I was talking about, use the airbag to block. But maybe this first airbag was expanded a little too fast. I feel like could have waited for a bit here. But now it's going to hit after the Gravekeeper who dived underground, and now to Godjay. Like, yeah, we're seeing that early game the survivors are doing a decent job in evading the breaking wheel, but I do see a potential like danger is that the survivors are expending their items very fast here, Sin.
Yeah, and when it comes to teams that have a limited amount of items here, the end game is always the biggest issue. With taking a spike here, the postman will go to 0.75 health, and currently his dog is on cooldown. So if he takes his next spike here, since the hunter has his first presence, he will go down to blink. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, I think for the survivors here, they are using their items to evade hits, but maybe they're like relying on their items too much that they did not manage to use their basic skills to evade the spikes on their own. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like the first down is too quick. So this is honestly seems to be another game potential for a 4-man here because the first down is way too fast.
Yeah, with the first down being way too fast, and then Gravekeeper going down here. Since this is a breaking wheel, there's no doubt about it. This is gonna be a double down, and it's either they're gonna have to pause their decoding to help the Gravekeeper, or the Gravekeeper will lose his self heal here because of this interaction.
Yep, it's either any of them, but currently Godjay getting chased over here. Another dog, this time able to like use it to delay a bit of a time. But he is sort of trapped in this area though, so let's see. Back to wheel form. And he has to kite for a long amount of time, but the thing is that a full presence breaking wheel means that anyone that meets him will go down very fast. Like that's the tear of a full presence breaking wheel. The way to deal with a breaking wheel is to not give them any presence early game. And the fact that they're in this situation now is very bad.
Yeah, presence deprivation is really important so that by the time the breaking wheel can actually be able to utilize his presence abilities, it'll already have been too late, and the match will be too fast paced even for a hunter like breaking wheel to cope up with.
Yup, so let's see. Peddler Pro here gonna go after the Gravekeeper. Gravekeeper looking. I'm not hungry, thank you.
No, let's not get tempted by the KFC burger right now. Gravekeeper will be taking a hit here, and looking at the cipher progress, that's actually one whole no, that is exactly as many ciphers as they need, although all of them are missing half the amount that they need. So there's still a lot of work to be done here.
Yeah, but to be fair, like the survivors did manage like to do a rebound kite and like manage to like got back some of their lost progress, so this is good news for them. because actually let's look at the ciphers, because currently there's 2 already very high in progress likely to be done. So there's only like one that one's 30%, one with 30%, one with 10% that remains currently. So now all it takes is that for the ciphers for the far end. But hold on, Glucose is gonna get busted here. I honestly feel like it would have been better for Glucose to just force the ciphers to begin with, because now he's in position where he might go down fast. He does still have a bomb to work with, but here is an open area and he cannot exactly enter the next pallet area, and there he goes down with a 92% nearby. And seeing that there's still trump card, there's a possibility that that cipher would get abnormal, Sin.
Yeah, with the one of the crucial ciphers that they need now, the hunter can still switch to abnormal if he has it. Yep, we're seeing it. The hunter has switched to abnormal, and now the cipher that was already primed and ready is down to 50%, setting them back by a whole lot. And since there's only 3 of them left, there's only so many ciphers they can do during the kite.
Yep, Fire Investigator taking a hit here, and then now I feel like the survivors are in a very bad position. Like, even if all 3 of them are rescued at all, because the last ciphers are very close to each other to begin with, meaning that anyone, like, it would be very easy for the breaking wheel to do a field control and chase them off the ciphers. And also, like, almost all the items on the survivor have been expended, meaning that whoever meets with the breaking wheel, in theory, cannot last for long. So this is not looking good for them at all. And honestly, here, like, the acrobat not rushing that cipher over there is coming back to haunt him now.
No, definitely not. Yeah, we're seeing the acrobat choosing to actually take off, like pull off of the cipher instead of forcing it, despite the fact that one of Breaking Wheel's like bigger weaknesses is that when he's in wheel form, he can't down someone instantly. It's the same weakness that Hullabaloo has, where he's unable to actually prevent a cipher from being forced or the gate from being forced open.
Yeah, but currently, though, no one can rescue, and seeing that the survivors are still missing a whole cipher, which they're decoding at the far end, now Glucose is gonna get busted here, so this does seem to like be a repeat of how Write Your Story got 4-man, because now Acrobat is going to like go down and get chaired. And the Breaking Wheel already has a rough idea where Missouri is, so this does seem to be another 4-man sin.
And there we go. Honestly, from Team Write, like, this is a good redemption from Team Write Your Story. This is exactly the kind of pace that they need to actually redeem themselves and make sure that they don't lose to Team HLT here. And if they get this, they'll be back with their 2-point advantage. And so then that means once more that Team HLT will have to pull another 4-man or 4-kill to actually come back to their winning pace that they had.
Yeah, like, first of all, I feel like the survivors expanded their items a bit too quick when they could have waited a bit in some situations. And second of all the acrobat not rushing that cipher to be done, because at that point, and like also going down over there, like acrobat running in the open where there are no pallets to use nearby, end up costing him dearly, because he ended up going down and get abnormal when he still had bombs to work with.
Absolutely. Like, the thing about going down is that as much as possible, you want to try not to go down with all of your utils still at your disposal. But the thing is, you don't want to use all of it before, like, you still want to use them sparingly so that you don't, like, mess up your rebound kites.
Yep, so with that, let's move on to the final game, as this will be the final game, as Frost One must return a 4-man or else they'll get eliminated here. And honestly, like, this game is really just back and forth. Like, first it started with a free escape and a 5-3 win. HLT returned that with a 4-man. Now Write Your Story is going to return that with a 4-man. So this is just, honestly, just very insane of how back and forth this game is. And now Frost One will have to do the 4-man they have again, but the amount of hunters he can use are limited, seeing now Opera Sing and Hullabaloo got removed.
Yeah, this match is actually an interesting back and forth with no more breaking wheel, Goatman, Hullabaloo, and Opera Singer. This leaves the only strong option this leaves for the Hunter would be Ivy, but an Ivy on Chinatown might be a bit difficult actually.
Yeah, like Ivy will be difficult, especially seeing that at this point, it seems that right, your story is very well prepared for any potential Ivies, with the Barmaid and the Embalmer both being selected over here. If Ivy is gonna get played here, she's gonna have a very hard time.
Definitely.
Oh, I don't know who is spamming emojis in the chat, but hello, whoever that is.
Hello.
I just see some like emojis floating up. So yeah, like we do seem to a bit faster pace because we started late here. But yep, Acrobat, Fire Investigator, or Meteorologist being gone. Oh, go for the Weeping Clown last. I thought they would go for a mercenary or like a first officer to act as a stable rescuer. But because Weeping Clown does have a little bit of fear and does get countered by the shadow, but I guess here they want to like have some harass in case they have some misplaced early game.
Definitely. Having at least something, having at least some sort of harass to depend on just in case anything goes wrong is always a good idea. Just because in a meta like this, where being able to support your teammates is actually really important, it will help them like recover from any possible mistakes.
Yeah, so let's see what would Frost One be picking. And as I said, this last pick is going to make them count.
Absolutely. And we're actually gonna see the smiley face being pulled out here, reverse to the weeping clown here. What do you think?
Well, honestly, I can see why. Because Smiley Face is actually very good at this map, and it's also very good against his team comp too. Now that we're thinking about it, because the thing here is that we have Barmaid that doesn't have good items against the breaking wheel. Weeping Clown gets countered by his own hunter form because he uses a rocket, and then Smiley Face be like, "You rocket, I rocket," and it's only the acrobat
Exactly.
that does. It's only the acrobat that does have like any form of kiting against it. The others not quite.
Yeah, definitely. The others are relatively lacking in terms of like how they're gonna cope with dealing against a smiley face here. But the issue now would be actually being able to manage the use of the drills. If the hunter can't use their drills properly, this spells the end for them.
Yep. So let's see though. Because I can see there's a possibility of this Smiley Face gets a 4-man because this team comes not the best against Smiley Face. Maybe for HLT or for Write Your Story, they were not preventing against it. So Smiley Face spawning here close to where the Barmaid is. But fortunately for them, both Barmaid and Acrobat has the fly effect that can be used to cancel out the dash. So how they use the flywheel will be very important in this game.
Yeah, now it's completely up to how they use since their abilities aren't that much of a help, it's completely up to how they use their traits. Because again, those are, even though Flywheel typically a 1 or 2 time use per match here, if they can use it correctly, it will buy them a lot of time.
So, yeah, let's see though. As I said, this will be the last game, and both teams will be giving their all, making sure that they are not going to go down. So, this will be HLT Survivor versus, or rather, HLT's Hunter versus Write Your Story's Survivor. The last game with your caster Invisible Joan. Frost One here entering the game and will be looking for. I have to check what are these parts called, but there is. I think this one is called the propeller or the rocket wing. I cannot remember, but the infinite dash. Frost One is gonna launch around. Let's see who will be his first target. I feel like here he can chase anyone apart from the acrobat.
Yeah, right now his only weakness in terms of who he can chase would actually be the acrobat because of how the balls would are the only thing that can like consistently counter his rocket. The rest the rest are countered like as you mentioned before, the distance that there won't be much for the barmaid to do. There isn't much for the weeping clown, much distance for the
Oh,
weeping clown to gain. And yep, we're seeing one hit from the rocket here, and the barmaid will use a drink.
yeah, insolence is about to be ready. Like just now, we did see that Smiley Face purposely avoided, and it actually goes for the blink hit over here before the Embalmer even has a chance to come in. And I don't think the Barmaid could have reacted to that in time with the flywheel though. So with that very early in the game, and
Mm-hmm.
the Barmaid is already down, this is not looking good. The one saving grace though is that the Embalmer already looked at the Barmaid, so he can't like use the coffin to attempt later when a Weeping Clown comes in play. So they'll have to make the next
Mm.
coffin count because this first down is very fast.
Yeah, this is an incredibly fast first down. They absolutely have to make sure that on the second chair, unfortunately, she will be taking a hit over the window almost instantly. However, that was a beautiful rocket from the hunter.
Yup, definitely a beautiful rocket. So, yeah, but we do see that the survivors and bomber play is already in place, seeing that the barmaid goes down very far and the coffin is at the other side of the map. Though the thing is that the hunter can easily like have an infinite dash and dash towards the barmaid once again. So this is just like a play to stall for
Mm-hmm.
time and making sure that the survivors can like decode at the ciphers in the meantime, and no one needs to come in and rescue.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. Oh, uh, I can't see. Oh yeah, there it is. Uh, we're seeing the Smiley prepare another one of his rockets here, and now they still have so much cipher progress missing because like three ciphers remaining and not even a single one of them hit properly hitting 50% past 50%. It's gonna be so much more difficult for them to rebound from all of this. The barmaid of course is still alive, but for how much longer can she keep that up? Flywheel.
Flywheel already gone, so yeah. Barmaid's gonna go down. The
Mm-hmm.
fortunate thing though is that during all this, the survivors already took the opportunity to heal each other back up, and because of the coffin play, no one needs to come in and rescue. This actually means that we see all three survivors of the first are in full health, so no one is currently in danger of going down and get instant chaired once again. So there is a chance for them to like play this slow and trying to play for a tie, which is what they
Mm-hmm.
desperately need. A Frost one will definitely have to find an opportunity to down someone fast, or else this would be a slow death situation for him.
Yeah, definitely. With still three survivors remaining, and now they've instantly dropped it down to one cipher remaining. The last cipher is already at 50%, but since there's two of them, one can safely rescue, and the cipher decoding progress does not need to stop.
Yeah, and not to count that the Embalmer is also not in danger of being going down. Like as I said, they're playing it very safe right now. But I do see like a potential seeing that. Oh, but a nice, beautiful flower wheel from the acrobat, evading getting hit because if he gotten hit over there, then the hunter definitely could have gone for an entire field control. Instead, now he has to go back towards the embalm, or rather the weeping clown at the cipher. Like the potential Frost one has is that the last three ciphers are very close to each other, but the survivors' health is still
Mm-hmm.
relatively healthy though, so this is still anybody's game to count.
No, this is still anybody's game. At least this seems like it's gonna be the pace for a tie with a nicely timed rocket here. The Weeping Clown will actually be able to gain a decent amount of distance because of the although the explosion from the rocket will give him away, but still the Weeping Clown chooses to change targets and go towards the cipher instead.
Oh, acrobat, very close bomb there. So now Frost will have to consider gonna go back, but he cannot because he knows the acrobat's still in the vicinity. And now, even though
Mm-hmm.
everyone is in half health and acrobat is in danger of being going down over here, even if the acrobat goes down, it's still going to be the ciphers will still be enough, and the acrobat also have borrowed
Mm-hmm.
time. So and the Weeping Clown also have borrowed time, so all they have to do is send in the Weeping Clown to come in and rescue. Or maybe they don't even need to because they probably know that Frost One here has no detention, which they do. So
Mm-hmm.
now they're just stuck in a weird position.
Yeah, Frost One as much as possible is trying to bait the Weeping Clan into dropping down early, or at least giving him free hit from the rocket. But again, because of the elevation difference, is unable to actually get that hit that he wants here. Because Embalmer has no more coffin, has no more abilities essentially, he's able to probably take a double down here. With another rocket, it'll be easy enough to catch up to the acrobat. The question is does he still know where?
Even if he knows where, it would not matter because the gate has already been done and all they need is a one-man escape to win. And of course, adverse. But yeah, honestly, I feel like the biggest opportunity Frost One had was at that part endgame because like the Embalmer had who was in half health was at the 2-story. But then again, like he was really an advantage there because if Frost One fully commits to try and chase him, then Frost One can just easily drop down. So really, there's just nothing the hunter can realistically do. So with that, this is going to be a win for Write Your Story, which is one of the 3-0 teams in the qualifiers, and they managed to hold this one up after 2 close games to enter the finals.
Absolutely excellent performance from Team Write Your Story here. That's 4 match wins in a row. That's impressive. Now they just need to do it 2 more times. Yeah, they would just need to do it 2 more times to win.
Yeah. So
Oh wait, no, one more.
One more. They only need to defeat
One more.
defeat Team Sky to win, or rather Sky or WG. Like my bad. I just only saw the left. It's like the winners between Sky or WG. Whoever that wins the second game in order to win. But then Sky and WG definitely will not go down without a fight, as they will be fighting each other now. As I'm gonna skip ahead because it's getting late.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. So we have Sky, who have 银蝶片飞如落雪，温暖雪，恋与第五人格，肤雪，是一败犬女 and 70 FHK XP, which that one I know is funny. And go ahead.
Yeah, for Team Wolfgang, we have Daria Silva, Baby Lee, Gluglaz, Sadimakom, and Kamhi.
So yeah, this one I'm less familiar with due to me not doing the match yesterday because I'm in China, but we do know for a fact with how good, like how skilled Sky is. And also like them being co and all and getting 3-0'd. So, Meg's gonna get banned here, so it seems that here they don't want any strong Goatman counters.
Yeah, they do. Since this is still the first round, they are still able to pull out any hunter they want. So, as much as possible, they want to keep the Goatman up because after round 1, Goatman might not have as much utility as he would in, like, let's say, yeah, he wouldn't have the same amount of utility as he would on their first round.
Hold on, give me let's see. So we are going to be seeing Aeroplanus next here, anti-Aeroplanus. So far this does look decent against the Hula Baloo, and because like this band pick here does seem to be leaning towards a Hula Baloo anyways. Hula Baloo also does not like the mechanic and also the Gravekeeper too. So now
Definitely.
first officer gets selected. I think if Silde McCon wants to play the Hula Baloo, this will be a bit of a problem because Seer can tank an extra hit with it. Aeroplanus can use his jetpacks to speed boost away, and this is going to give the Hula Baloo a massive problem here.
Yeah, still even then, he could pull out someone like maybe Upper Singer actually doesn't seem like the best pick here, but I'm still thinking another breaking whale is actually just would work out fine for this.
Yeah, opera singer actually can work in theory, airplane speed boost and all. So, I mean, Ghostman is also possible depending on how confident Sode McCom is with his cages. So that's why we're going to be seeing the Ghostman being selected. Because Aeroplanist is only 50-50, and Sears, we can treat it like a part of a psychologist. It's the anti that would probably give the Goldman the biggest issue here.
Mm-hmm. Alright, we're getting into the map selections. We're seeing a pretty standard pick actually with putting the rescuer in the middle just to put a buffer between the hunter and whoever gonna take the first kite, or at least forcing the hunter to spawn on the outskirts here. What I'm thinking, the hunter will either spawn at by the gate or right outside of graveyard around Geisha to chase to chase the seer probably. Okay, yeah. Or next to gate.
Well, now first officer will likely be taking the first kite here, so like it's possible because seeing that there is also the trick that I talked about before, making first officer is like 50-50 against a Goatman. Like even after the nerf is still 50-50, like not the worst but not exactly the best either.
Yeah, definitely not the best. Definitely not the best, but still, it's a decent chance. It's better than trying to chase his other two neighbors, Antiquarian and Aeroplanist. His only other choice, because of the first officer being a buffer between him and the seer, it could work just beelining for it. But I think the better option here would be to actually target their first officer and wear out their. No, they actually have three tides to counter that, so that works out just fine. But first officer is the only. First officer and antiquarian are the only ones who have borrowed time.
Yeah, yeah. There's two borrowed times here, which is I think a common thing in this meta. Like the last meta, we actually have seen situations where they have free, like only have one borrowed time, but now they bring a bit back more. So we are going to be heading into the game right now. So they might come here. Does actually have max resistance, probably to deal with the potential antiquarian, and we'll be marching around just trying to find the best target here, wandering around, but does seem that the antiquarian might potentially be taking the first kite.
And there we go, we're seeing two cages down almost immediately. The decision to chase the antiquarian first here because of how much utility she has to work with right off the bat, this might be a little bit of an issue. Another cage, but that's already the third cage here, and although the placement is just fine, being forced to expend three cages just to get one hit is a bit of a problem.
Yeah, considering that currently he's very low in resentment, and also the fact that Seer can still use an outer block, so that early play is not exactly the best for Sode Macomb here, and here he has to be very careful because if he places the cage, there's a possibility he'll get swiped or like just have an out on them. So Sode Macomb here breaking the pallet just to stall for more time. And now the Antiquarian's on their own, but she still has a lot of sticks to work with. So let's see, can she make that count? Because she knows that the Hunter has no blink.
Yeah, with no blink. Unfortunately, unable to react with her stick here. She goes down, but even then, that's at least at least almost two ciphers down, and the third cipher is missing only around 50%.
Yeah, but currently this is like a 2 cipher down, which is possible for both sides, but we actually see that the survivors are both the aeroplanist and the first officer running around. I think there was a bit of a traffic jam situation over there, but they're gonna commit the aeroplanist to come in, and even if the aeroplanist pulls off the rescue, because of how high like the resentment level is, so let's see. Oh, go for a swipe here, but goes for like a pushback instead of a swipe towards the right. Did not manage to disarm though, and now does manage to disarm, but because there was a survivor nearby, it's not going to be enough, so the Antiquarian will have to rely on herself. And oh, a very nice evasion and a very nice jump over there. Just like that Antiquarian was just dancing around Sylvie McComb for like a very long time there, Sin.
Yeah, that was an amazing use of the jump here. We don't usually see antiquarians use their jump. We tend to see them rely a lot on their swings or perhaps even the minor speed boost that they get from the twirl. But now we're gonna see the antiquarian go down here. But that was a good enough kite for the rest of the team. Look at the cipher progress. This is a dangerously high percentage when she's only on her second chair.
Yep, so oh, let's see though now gonna come in. Seer, yeah, just Seer's just gonna here to delay more time as we can see that the survivors are in no hurry. But abnormal's gonna be coming into play here. Though the thing is that if you're gonna swap into abnormal now, I can see this bringing a potential issue though endgame. But fortunately, he still
Mm-hmm.
does manage to bring the antiquarian down. But I can totally see that the survivors can like get the ciphers back up. Because the thing with abnormal is you only use it when you have no other choice or when you have like in a
Mm-hmm.
massive advantage, which the Goldman is not exactly in the advantage right now.
Definitely. While the Antiquarian will go down here, it's gonna be extremely difficult actually, and I'm not sure what's happening here. Probably, yeah, struggling a bit with the cage. That bought them a few more seconds of time for middle, but even then, Abnormal is coming back in a few seconds, and that will wipe their cipher progress again. So we're actually seeing another cipher be started.
Yep. So, I mean, currently, like now, this is a free survivor endgame situation, but let's see. Oh, aeroplaners, be careful because you can. If you're not careful, you can launch into the hunter like that. Though the upside for the survivor is that because abnormal has already been swapped, meaning that he have no teleport, so the survivors can safely decode without worrying of them getting teleported onto. Because now, even if the seer is gonna get chased over here, um, they still have the first officer decoding the cipher at the two pallet at the F pallet.
Mm-hmm. There we go. The first hour from this year is already being used up, although that's just fine because that manages to force out the cage and that will put the seer at least in a position where he can force it. Oof. Unfortunately, the goat man here misses and cannot lock the seer out of the cipher, although the middle cipher will take another abnormal.
Yep. So I mean, taking another abnormal is fine, seeing that everyone is back in, like, the airplane is back in like a quarter 75% health, and no survivors have been shared during amongst all that. But now that the fact
Mm-hmm.
that the two survivors are here might have a bit of an issue though. Though if one goes down, the other might end up going down too. And here, oh, let's see. Okay, pocket watch, but now the airplanes might get chased off. So this is the problem I mentioned. You do not want it to get traffic jammed too much against the Goatman.
No, still, good use of the jetpacks. You're able to dodge that trap there with a cage that a normal survivor wouldn't have been able to actually counter. But now, he still has enough resentment level to do another cage. So he will. Yep, the use of the updraft, but that won't be enough to actually kite out the cage.
Yeah, that would not be enough necessary. But considering the aeroplanes did manage to last for a bit and dragged and contained the hunter for a bit amount of time, it's decent enough. And actually, currently, like while everyone is back in full health, I do see that if anyone goes down now it would change the game entirely. So the survivors will have to be very careful in each and every single one of their moves as the Seer's trying to absorb another owl, but ends up running into the hunter and will be going down, and the cipher at the center is not enough just yet, so this might just be the opening that the hunter needs.
Mm-hmm. No, this is definitely what they need because look at the cipher progress. But even then, if either one takes a hit to abnormal here, they'll still have the other one that they can decently to rely on. With abnormal being used as many times as it already has, its effect is almost negligible.
Yeah, though, but the thing is that everyone would be in half health, so here they like the survivors must apply enough pressure onto the survivors. But hold on a minute, Seer's gonna go down. Aeroplanus, the survivors will be primed, and because both Aeroplanus and Seer not having borrowed time, they might have to pop it straight away and play for one man. But I think here Sody McCall also realized it. That's why he's in no hurry to chair.
Yeah, he knows as well, so he's actually waiting for the first officer. Because their only choice here is to send first officer to rescue this first officer rescue so that they won't suffer from the issue of having no borrowed time. This will be a rescue from the first officer, and I think this might
Pop.
be a body block here.
Oh,
Pop?
Aeroplanist end up
No.
getting caught over there. Aeroplanist did not position himself well. Like, if the plan was for the aeroplanist to go and, like, drag that cipher, like, to pop that cipher, then he should have popped it the moment he realized the Goldman is after him and not standing there and getting cut off the cipher entirely. Because that's what happened. He ended up
Definitely.
getting cut off.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's since he has no borrowed time, I don't see why there was a delay to the ciphers. But look at the cipher progress. All four ciphers were from the airplanist,
Yeah, well,
and their names are.
we will be approaching endgame. Sears gonna go down, and now the survivor are scattered. Fortunately for them, because the Goldman had no trump card remaining, so the two survivors can split up and having one decode each. But Sear will be chaired here, so let's see how long can this airplanist last. Because if the airplanist goes down too fast, then the first officer will likely get caught at the gate. But now he's going to be approaching the first
Uh-huh.
officer at the gate straight away, who is trying to rush the gate. But you have to be very careful, or else you're going to get hit, though. And he does going to get hit and trying to rush the gate, though. It is open, but Sodium McCom here will be blocking with the main body, and with that, he failed to rescue. I think here, like, the first officer should have just ran away and used the watch the moment Sodium McCom even approached to make sure that he's not going down there, because this might result in an entirely different game.
Mhm. This might actually end up resulting in a four-man because look at how the hunter is positioning himself. It's not only the fact that he can use his cage to get to the nearby survivors, it's that he's indirectly blocking off the gate by being close enough to cage off the gate. There it is. You're seeing this be actually a four-man for Team Wolfgang's hunter. No, yeah, for Team Sky's hunter.
Well, talk about alternative events, because, like, the survivors had a very decent mid game where they're very careful and all, but that end game first officer being too greedy over there ended up costing them, because this resulted in this placed both the Seer and the airplanist in a bad position. If the first officer just ran away and played this one slower, then it would have brought enough time for the Seer to go back closer, and, or rather the airplanist to go closer towards the Seer. Then the Goblin will have to choose between committing to the first officer or swapping back to the Seer, and both of them are better than what ended up happening.
Definitely. And so now, for the first half of round one, we're seeing a strong five-man here. This is a really strong start because unless Sky can redeem themselves with like either another four-man or a three-man here, they're gonna have much more trouble in. They're gonna have a lot of trouble when it comes to round two and round three.
Yeah, so yes, unfortunate, and Sky honestly being the top dogs in this tournament and all, getting four men right at the first round is definitely a huge hit towards them. So now the question is, can Sky's Hunter return the favor? Because if Sky's Hunter does not 4K, then they're going to lose the first round, which they do not want. And honestly, I just feel like that abnormal play from the Goldman was very aggressive from Sode Macomb, but it worked out in their favor with beautiful field control and grasped on the one misplay that Sky made and just snowballed it and 4K'd at the end.
Yeah, definitely that snowball from Team Wolfgang there, was absolutely fabulous. That was pace enough for at least a one man, but being able to catch that Seer off guard, him having no more owls left, and then just generally everything, the general positioning of the hunter of how Wolfgang positioned themselves here is actually what led to a majority of these cages. And so amazing match from them. I will have to
Oh, you have to
I will
go?
have to go. 'Cause yeah, I will have to go because it's midnight.
Alright, good night, Sin.
All right. Thank you for the games. That was fun. Bye.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Alright, so moving on, since on my own I'll be talking a bit more slower since I'm actually very, very tired seeing that I just came back from China and all. Alright, this team comp here, Merc, Enchantress, Magician, Antiquarian. I mean, this does prevent against a potential Goatman and also Breaking Wheel at the same time, but I do feel like Hula Baloo can work their way around it. Oh, yeah, like, let's see. Hula Baloo works, Hula Baloo works here. Opera Singer also works too because Enchantress is not too strong against an opera. And opera is very good at chasing the harassers away. Oh, still Goatman, but the Enchantress does counter the Goatman though, so here, let's see, does the Hunter here have a perfect plan against the Enchantress? Yeah, I feel like here, let's see how well is the Goatman prepared against the Enchantress, but they do have free flywheel effects. And considering that here WG only needs a 1 survivor escape to win the first round, here let's see how they play this one out because they're very well prepared against any potential Goatman. Yeah, I'm gonna skip ahead because it's getting late. Let's see. Goldman going to be just patrolling around. Probably will be heading towards. Let's see. Oh, Enchantress here. Like if. Oh, but Enchantress does end up running the Hunter's face. I'm not sure what it was Baby Lee trying to aim for over there, but he ended up putting himself in a very bad position. And now getting hit that early is definitely not good because now there is also like 40 resentment level, and now he can just block off those pallets. And I think Baby Lee might not able to be carrying this one out. Still have a stun, but would that be enough to help him last the cage? No, it would not. We're talking about 45 seconds in the game, and Enchantress gonna go down. And honestly, I feel like Enchantress getting hit under the 2-star over there was a massive error when she ran backwards. Because what she should have done is to just run in front. Because even if she gets hit like further at the 2 pallets over there, then she could still run towards the double 11 and has something to work with rather than going down straight away. But hold on, Antiquarian here end up getting hit. And now she's also going to get blocked off. And now she's going to have to go to like harass the Hunter and sort of like disarm it for a bit, which did work. But considering the fact that currently the ciphers are beyond enough and actually going to be using excitement to clear the disarm just to get the Enchantress down. Like, yes, he did disarm the Hunter and brought baby Lee sometime, but that was an expense of two people's ciphers. Anyways, currently now, like, yeah, I feel like Enchantress going down early over there was very fatal, but now we're gonna be moving into the game here. And the Enchantress does have a 3-stack stun, so let's see can she make this one count though. Oh, excite. Oh, I'm actually gonna go for the 3-stack stun and didn't miss the cage here, but another cage is gonna be in play here, and there we go, goes down. Enchantress, like, unfortunately, the Goldman is very high in resentment level, so now this is not looking good at all, because we're talking 2.5 ciphers in the game, and the Enchantress already got sent back to the manor. And the reason this happened was the Enchantress gonna go down too fast, and during the first rescue, the Antiquarian got harassed, forcing someone else, the Magician, to go into rescue, and with that, the ciphers were at a standstill at that point of time. So let's see. Antiquarian half health, but in theory she cannot kite for too long here, but she still has her stuns, but nah, excitement. Goldman excitement actually worked very well this game, and Goldman just have a very strong ability to snowball after the Enchantress ends up running in the Hunter's face. Well, Merc gonna get hit, but fortunately, Elbow Pad still gonna go rescue, getting hit once again, and yeah. I think currently it's definitely Goldman in favor. All he has to do is to just play this one normally. Oh, cage. Oh, he actually did misplace the cage over there, so let's see. But nah, not being able to kite this one out. And now the Magician will have to come in to rescue. But the Magician is sort of in a very like far area. I don't know if the Magician would come in though. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I apologize if getting late, I'm sleepy. Yeah, but currently, oh, Magician gonna get chased. Merc is gonna get him in time, but Merc cannot pull off the Antiquarian. Yeah, so that's sent back to the manor. Though seeing that the cipher here is pretty high up in progress. So I think here probably like you have to chair the chair the Magician straight away and see if the mercenary can kite enough for the dungeon to be enough, or to come back to rescue the mage. Yeah, still gonna be in full health, so let's see. Because Merc already does not have self-heal though, so as long as the Merc gets hit, yeah, like now the Magician is on their own, and as long as Tinnitus flashes, then it's sort of half over here. You see the mage is hiding in the basement, but I don't think they're gonna last long out of it. But yeah, currently doesn't seem that he knows where it is, but I think this is really only a matter of time. Yeah, I think a couple of times he definitely knows that the basement is weird or something's in the basement. Ah well, since Merc has no self heal, it's not like the mage can really kite all the way out to begin with. Yeah, it doesn't seem he knows the Merc does not self heal, but Merc is already crawling towards the mage, so there's a chance for both of them to get picked up though. Yeah, yeah, it seems like it's gonna back into the stalling game. But yeah, for self heal it doesn't even matter because the magician, yeah, just cannot get out. So with that, this will be a 4-man. Yeah, I feel like just the enchantress there, unfortunate. Like the other 3 survivors for mid game definitely held their own, but the enchantress is gonna go down that fast when in theory she counters the Goldman was sort of a bit fatal. So we're gonna head into the next game. Priestess gets banned here. Yeah, no opera singer. I think this is a very opera singer strong map. Grave and fire. I mean, we still have Hula Baloo out, so like Grave to counter Hula Baloo, and Fire Investigator to counter the Shadow. Also, no mech as probably leaning towards a Hula Baloo, but if that's the case, here Sky can put the aeroplanets. Yep, exactly. And I think here, so the McCall will have to think if he really wants to go with that, or would he like go for a different option and let's say go for a smiley face. Novelist gets banned. Like smiley face is possible here. Anyways, let's see, Meteorologist last. Yeah, that's a very Hula Baloo hard counter. If Sodimacom picks the Hula Baloo here, he's in for a potential massive counter pick here. Well, let's see. No opera. I think smiley face is possible. Yeah, smiley face is definitely possible. Breaking wheel. But yeah, no, smiley face and breaking will have to face the gravekeeper, so still goes for the Hula Baloo. But I honestly feel like for Hula Baloo, I see a potential issue is that the 3 kiters here are all very strong against Hula Baloo. So in theory, it'll be hard for the Hula Baloo to land a 4-man. But handing the game here, seems that Hula Baloo is gonna head towards. Oh, the aeroplanist, but aeroplanist counters the Hula Baloo though. Like the jetpacks can launch him forward and just to evade getting hit entirely. But he's actually not using any of them till just now, which was in a bit of danger. But now let's see double surprise in the coming play. One mark. There should be another soon. Yep, second mark. So 2 fright marks very fast. And it doesn't seem that the aeroplanist can evade that in time. Like this first jetpack use did not drag out a lot of distance, so down he goes. Maybe propelling in the air just now was not the best play or a bit too much, because now he's in a very bad position. And I think the thing with the aeroplanist is that he seems to be just running in straight lines rather than like utilizing the ground and evasion. But he is dragging some time. But I do think that maybe it's not enough if he just relies on his items and nothing else. Oh, Fire Investigator wanted to block, but missed it, so... I mean, even if he hit, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. Gravekeeper, Yep, oh, double down, yep, double down. Because to be fair, like Sodi Macomb is currently in the lead anyways, because the aeroplanists just relied on their items too much and did not rely on anything else. Did not rely on trying to dodge and all. Aeroplanist. Yeah, like they probably got to send the, let's see. I mean, Gravekeeper doesn't seem to rescue. They want to sacrifice it. I guess they do not want any double downs and play for a tie. But can he play for a tie from this is a question though. Oh, Gravekeeper have to find a perfect opportunity to use a shovel, which thankfully he found before Pyrotechnic is going to come in play, because there's a risk of him getting cut off over there. But currently he is doing a good job in evading all these hits. Yep, gonna go down here, but fortunately everyone has borrowed time. So this would still likely be a tie for, or like can play for a tie. He wants to share the basement button, but I don't think he can. See, he'll be forced to share the outside. And considering that, as I told y'all, there is trump card for, or rather borrowed time for everyone, this is like likely a tie to begin with. Anyways, Fire Investigator. I'm gonna go down here. But yeah, he did buy up enough time. I just don't know if it's possible, if it's sufficient for the others, because like Gravekeeper Shovel, huh? With that, this would be a tie for this round. And honestly, considering that this round was like the survivor picks from Team Sky were very solid to begin with, I think it's not that big of a surprise that this happened. So now we're going to be moving on to the final match of the game. Or rather, it's not even potential. My bad, I'm sleepy. Let's see. WG and Sky. No Hula Baloo. Goldman has already been selected. Been banned last round, so... We'll probably see Opera Singer. But then, for WG, they can pick the Puppeteer. For Magician, Investigator Mage, maybe to prevent any potential... prevent the Opera Singer. But this does open the gate for Sky to ban the Puppeteer. Wildling, a Gravekeeper. We still have one more night. Let's see, is Opera good against this? Actually, sort of decent. Wait, who's that? Wait, who's that? Oh. Well, I did not expect this. Oh, hello, Panda. Are you here to watch me commentate your own match? I was actually a bit sleepy last round, but whatever. Well, you just missed me commentating that, but I was just mentioning for the first round, it was a bit unfortunate for for both sides. And the second round, y'all played very solid, but yeah. I won't speak. I'll be like us, non-biased while commentating. Let's see. Yeah, Opera Singer, but as I talked about Opera Singer, it's actually decent because the thing is that Fire Investigator Speed Boost can get caught up. Magician, this is a more of an open map, meaning that for the Magician, like even if he uses illusions, he cannot block off too many shadow areas for the Opera to dance around with. So I see an opportunity for the Opera Singer to get a potential win here. So let's see, spawn selection. Magician at the center, I guess that works. But they have two tide turners and all broken windows. It seems that they were very well prepared against any Opera Singers. But yeah, here I don't think the knight would be taking the first kite because he does have broken windows, and also with the help of tactical foresight, early game knight can kite the Opera for a bit, so maybe the Magician will be taking the first kite here. But yeah, I'm gonna speed ahead first because it's getting late. Alright, going to be heading straight into... Actually gonna go head towards the center to try and see who is nearby, but actually in reality... Okay, the Fire Investigator, I think the Fire Investigator is one of the easy cheat in this team. Ooh, a very good Shadow Dance there, catching the baby lead off guard. Oh my goodness, we're talking about 30 seconds in the game. A Terror Shock already occurred. Like, that was a very risky vault over there, and I think that is why, ladies and gentlemen, you do not do risky vaults against an opera singer like that. Like, first of all, that was already a very good shadow dance from the hunter of Team Sky, shadow dancing straight into where the fire investigator was, cutting them off, and then the good mind game baiting the investigator into vault and getting the terror shot. And now the ciphers are not going to be enough at all, seeing that only one cipher has been done in total, and right now the survivors are already in position, like already in a very bad position, and for the hunter he can try and play for a 4-man here. It seems that they want to go for an over half just to like make sure their health stays up, or to sacrifice entirely. But this is an opera singer. Her chase will always be good. She's not like a guard 26 where she relies on like the second chase and camping game. Like guard 26 chasing is like not the best. So selling would work, but opera singer being a strong chasing hunter and all, selling doesn't necessarily work because we can see that the magician is going to get chased here, and unless the magician makes a kite of his life, he would not last for too long and actually goes for the blink drop down attack, is able to do it. So the hunter is playing this, Sky's hunter is playing this game very, very aggressively, and it's working in their favor because now magician is in danger of going down unless he makes this count. Does barely misses the hit, and now the magician was looking, just clawing to survive for longer, but they still have too much cipher remaining, namely 2 whole ciphers that remains. Oh, there goes the down. So here's the thing, like Knight and Acrobat are both in full health, but they do have to stand in someone, which is going to be the Knight, who has already like taken this opportunity to like loop behind. But unfortunately for the hunter, it doesn't seem that he knew which direction the Knight was coming from, so that did bought some time there. Hold on a minute. Oh, tactical foresight, first one. Let's see, second one, does it work or not? Oh, fails it though, so hold on. Actually, hold on a minute. I think he just forced it over half over there. This is not looking good at all. Because like the Knight came in too late. Like talk about like snowball effect. From the fire investigator here getting shadow dance back to the fire investigator taking terror shot, and the Knight subsequently made a blunder of rescuing over half. So now this is very very bad on the survivors. Like if the rescue was just a normal move before half, I felt like not much. I feel like they could have played for a tie, but now this is almost guaranteeing for Team Sky to win round 2 now. Now it's going to be between, it's just going to be a back and forth, and seeing that the trump card had not been expanded yet, I think trump card might be in place soon. Like he can always like if chase someone, and if they're always proven too hard to chase, or he knows that the ciphers are getting stolen, he can take this opportunity to just teleport back. So now knowing that the Knight is not trying to touch the cipher at the center, he can fully commit on this acrobat. But oh, I think the acrobat meant to jump across the pallet but failed, and opera singer shadow dancing at the same time just negated that. So actually they both made mistakes together that bumped into each other. Yeah, just shadow dancing right now, and yeah, this is more in the hunter's favor right now because, like, even if they're getting a lot of high progress, I just don't see them managing to pull this one off. So yeah, like just look, one blink hit and it's gonna go down, and he's gonna chair to make it safe. So now the question is, if Kanki can just evade it that long, can evade the knight that long to go for dungeon. I think rescue is not ideal because then it will put the serfs in a position where they still need to like rush the ciphers. Instead, it would be better to just sacrifice the knight and go for one man. But currently, we can see Kanki is hiding very far away from the buildings, so the opera singer had no clue where they went. But the moment Tinnitus goes, he definitely knows the approximate direction. But it doesn't seem that he knows that the acrobat was just hiding in that shop over there. But oh, let's see, very close now. But yeah, it doesn't seem that he knows. So Kangi is actually doing a very good job in evading this tinnitus. Yeah, Fire Investigate's gone, but hold on, Acrobat. He has still one more Ice Bomb. Let's see, can he make this count? Because Hunter already has no more trump card, he cannot blink. So this would really just be dependent on the match result between this Acrobat. Oh, let's see, goes for it, flywheel effect, but no, not being enough, and just gonna fall very short. So with that, this would be a 7-2, and honestly, the early game just sort of sealed the deal with the Fire Investigator being gone and all. Like the Fire Investigator being like Terror Shock and all. And then the Knight subsequently rescuing over half. It just proved to be too fatal. Yeah, let's skip ahead. Like currently is in favor of 7-2, so that means that Sky here can potentially end this if they free escape, and WG will be looking to like for the Hunter to get a 4-man. Because currently Sky is ahead in terms of 7-2, this means that Wolfgang must return at least a 7-2, and either the Survivor or the Hunter, one side would need to do a 4-man escape or 4-man elimination. But we all know getting a 4-man escape is very hard, so that means that the pressure would be on for Wolfgang Survivor to try and get a 4-man elimination instead, which is why we're seeing here. But it seems that the 4 Meta Hunter has already been removed one way or another, and for Sky, they can just really just play this safe and even pick the Mercenary because Mercenary saves the danger of the team, but opting for an aeroplanist and psychologist approach just to steady themselves up. Yeah, so let's see though, right now. Aeroplanist, psych, meteorologist. Yeah, no, I apologize, Panda. I'm a bit tired. I literally just came back from IVL. For yeah, actually this is a solid team combo so far. And seeing this guy only needs like a tie, I thought they would pick the Embalmer earlier, but I guess Meteorologist also works. And oh, Weeping Clown. I I thought they're gonna be going more of the Mercenary, because I feel like Mercenary may be more stable, or the First Officer. But I think maybe Sky wants to like free escape and end this right here and then now. So for this team comp, it looks pretty stable in theory. Like, I think the Weeping Clown is the only uncertainty, because I can see this Weeping Clown can either make or break it. Like, this Weeping Clown could definitely be key for a free escape, but simultaneously it could also be like the danger of a free man instead. Like, getting 3 or 4 men, because the Weeping Clown is a little bit inconsistent, and if failed harass, it will always give the hunters an opening. Like, that's sort of the thing with harassers, is that if played right, they have a very high ceiling, but if played wrongly, they would just like makes it even worse than you decoding. So, hunters potentially last pick here, and they're aiming for a 4-man without the top 4 hunters. So go for the Hermit instead. And I think Hermit, we've established this a lot of times by now in this tournament. The Hermit is a high risk, high reward character. But in this tournament we've seen so far, Hermit is not necessarily did not perform the best. Like, Hermit did not perform the best from what we've seen in this tournament so far. And Psychologist, arguably the tankiest survivor, is the one going to be getting chased over here. So this will be like a very good testament on how skilled the Hermit is, seeing that he's forced to chase the Psychologist down. So let's just skip ahead. Alright, this will be the BO3 first half between Sky and Wolfgang. So moving in the game here, we can see that Sode McCom will be pressuring the Psychologist at the back here. And it doesn't seem like he like connected the ciphers nearby just yet. A Psychologist will be taking the kite against Sode McCom's Hermit. So let's see, currently only one of them has a charge, but Psychologist is just looping around, not giving the Hermit any clear line of sight to use Miracle, but is able to get one Miracle onto the Psychologist, and we can see that. Let's see. Everyone already decoded, but how many of them would tank for them? I mentioned all of them would tank just to ensure like a second kite, but it doesn't seem that any of them will be tanking. Instead, like, no one tanked, and they're going to be allowing the Psychologist to take the hit. Because after Psychologist takes hit, she still has around 1.6 health, or rather 1.4 health, just to like, it's like still in danger, but it's still blockable. But we do see that the Weeping Clown is nearby. I guess just that he wanted to be there to bring the Psychologist away. But now he'll be the one taking the kite here though, so he has to be very careful. Sode McCom missed another charge. And currently we're talking about like near 2 ciphers in the game, and no one is in danger of being going down at all. So that is looking very bad for the Hermit. It's able to take the first hit, but this time I think multiple people tanked for that hit. So with that, this is not good at all. Not good at all. Weeping Clown goes for the teleport, but failed over there. So this is just going to be giving the Psychologist even more distance. So now, Weeping Clown still has one more rocket though. So Nimacom actually wants to play for a field control now. But the thing is that field control can only do you so long before your cipher is done. And Psychologist has to be careful now because she's in 1.4 health, meaning that she might go down in 2 hits depending on how the survivors tank it. Oh, miracle, let's see. Red charge, I think this time he's just like trying to like bring everyone's health down so to make sure that no one can rescue. And the survivor's plan is to just like keep on doing. And the survivor's plan is to just keep on buying time for here to make sure that they do not get four-man under any circumstance. Oh my. I think this is like the third or the fourth stun that the psychologist did. And during all this time, we can see the ciphers have already been decoded massively because the psychologist had did an amazing rebound kite, evading all those electro charges, and all of a sudden, we're talking like 4 minutes, not even 4 minutes in the game, and the ciphers would be enough. So yeah, like, speaking this is about a Hermit game at all, and Hermit is supposed to like slow down everyone's decoding speed, because the thing is that this Hermit never managed to commit themselves to a target, and this is going to be fatal. Because he never really like focused on getting someone down, as a result he could not force the survivors to waste their decoding time and come in to rescue, and this just led to butterfly effect. As yes, the meteorologist is gonna get cheered, but this does open the gate for all three remaining survivors to escape though. But it seems that they want to fight for more, or it seems that they just want to pressure the hunter into not teleporting. Because even if they tie 2-2, this will still be in massive favor for Team Sky anyways. But oh, let's see. Weeping Cloud's gonna go down, but during amongst all this, the survivors already rescued them, but Herman does have teleport. So let's see, does Herman dare to teleport? If the Hermit teleports, then he can still cut them off at the gate. But I feel like if he just allows the survivor to run out, then it will ensure a tie or a potential free man escape too. Because the thing is that yeah, this is a free man. Yeah, I just feel like Hermit being a high risk, high reward character at all, we're not seeing the ceiling of the Hermits with the survivors giving that many, with the hunter giving out some chances and never really pressuring them into like a better position. So with that, congratulations